Hi, I'm Alora. I never thought I'd be sitting across from a police detective, showing photos of the bruises on my 8-year-old son's ankles. But when your own sister, someone you trusted with your child's care, betrays that trust in the most horrific way, everything changes. Mrs. Chen, could you walk me through what happened again? Detective Morgan leaned forward, her gaze steady and compassionate. I had a work emergency. The hospital called me in for a critical surgery. I'm a pediatric nurse, I explained, my voice surprisingly steady despite the rage churning inside. My sister Vanessa offered to watch Toby for the afternoon. I've left him with her dozens of times before. And you had no reason to suspect anything would happen? None. We grew up together. She's his aunt. I trusted her completely. Detective Morgan nodded, making notes. And how did you discover what happened? Toby was quiet during dinner, which isn't like him. When I was helping him get ready for his bath, I noticed the bruising around his ankles. When I asked him about it, my voice finally cracked. Take your time, Mrs. Chen. I took a deep breath. He told me Aunt Vanessa got angry because he was too slow finishing his homework. She said she needed to teach him a lesson, so she hung him upside down from the pull-up bar in her home gym. Left him there for almost 20 minutes while she watched videos on her phone. Did your son say anything else about the incident? He said he cried and begged her to let him down, that his head hurt and he felt dizzy. When she finally let him down, she told him not to tell me because I'd be disappointed in him for being lazy. Detective Morgan's expression hardened. And you confronted your sister after this? I called her immediately. She laughed it off at first, said I was overreacting. Her exact words, if you can recall? She said, "Oh, please, it was barely 10 minutes. Kids need consequences these days. He'll finish his work faster next time." I clenched my fists. When I told her I was taking Toby to the emergency room to document his injuries, she got defensive, said I was being dramatic. And you mentioned your parents were somehow involved? I nodded, the betrayal still fresh. After the ER visit, I called them, expecting support. Instead, my father said, "Fear is a powerful motivator, Alora. You coddle that boy too much." And your mother? She suggested I was blowing things out of proportion, said, "When you were kids, your father would make you hold dictionaries with outstretched arms when you misbehaved. A little fear makes you faster, smarter." How did that make you feel? Like I'd been living in some alternate reality where I thought we were a normal family. I laughed bitterly. My son was abused, and they're defending it. That's when I knew. This isn't just about Vanessa. This is a family sickness. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. "You're making a mistake. Family handles things internally." I showed Detective Morgan the message. Apparently, handling things internally means letting child abuse slide. Mrs. Chen, based on your son's medical report and your statement, we have enough to proceed with charges against your sister. Child endangerment at minimum. What about my parents? They didn't hurt him directly, but one step at a time. First, we deal with the primary abuser. She closed her notebook. You're doing the right thing. Many wouldn't have the courage to stand against family like this. As I gathered my things to leave, Detective Morgan asked one more question. Does your sister have children of her own? I shook my head. No, but she's a third-grade teacher? The detective's eyes widened slightly. I see. That adds another dimension to our investigation. Walking to my car, another text came through. From my mother. You always were dramatic. Your sister is devastated. Call her and work this out before it goes too far. I turned off my phone. There was no going back now. The family that had raised me no longer existed in my mind. In its place stood strangers who thought hurting a child was acceptable, and I would make sure they faced every consequence possible. Toby's pediatrician referred us to you, I explained to Dr. Winters, a child psychologist with kind eyes and a calm demeanor. He hasn't been sleeping well since the incident. Dr. Winters nodded, making notes. Has he talked much about what happened? More details come out each day. Yesterday, he told me Aunt Vanessa recorded a video of him hanging there, crying. My voice trembled with barely contained fury. She showed it to him afterward, said she'd show his friends if he didn't shape up. That's psychological abuse on top of physical. Dr. Winters set down his pen. Mrs. Chen, would your son feel comfortable speaking with me alone? It might help him to talk with someone who isn't emotionally involved. Of course. I squeezed Toby's hand. Is that okay, buddy? Dr. Winters just wants to chat. Toby nodded, his eyes downcast. Will it help put Aunt Vanessa in trouble? The innocent question broke my heart. This is about helping you feel better, sweetheart. But she was mean. And Grandma and Grandpa said it was okay to be mean. Dr. Winters interjected gently. It's never okay for adults to hurt children, Toby. What happened wasn't your fault. While Toby spoke with Dr. Winters, I called my friend Melissa, an attorney who specialized in family law. They're saying what? Melissa's voice rose in disbelief. Hanging a child upside down is somehow justifiable discipline? That's textbook abuse, Alora. My parents are calling me non-stop. They've even shown up at my house twice. Document everything. Every call, every visit. If they're trying to interfere with the investigation, they're saying I'm destroying the family, that teachers have to be strict sometimes. Being strict doesn't mean dangling a child upside down until they're terrified and injured. Has the school been notified about Vanessa? Detective Morgan said they'd handle that part. She's been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Good. Listen, I know these are your family members, but they're not my family anymore, I interrupted firmly. Family protects children. They defended abusing mine. Dr. Winters emerged with Toby, their session complete. After Toby settled in the waiting room with a book, Dr. Winters pulled me aside. Your son disclosed something concerning. Apparently, this wasn't the first incident with your sister. What? My blood ran cold. What else did she do? He mentioned being locked in a dark closet during previous visits when he talked too much, and being forced to kneel on uncooked rice when he moved around too much during homework time. I felt physically ill. I had no idea. He never said anything. Your sister told him you knew about these punishments and approved of them. That's why he never mentioned it. The room seemed to spin. I would never... He believes you now, Dr. Winters assured me. But we're dealing with a pattern of abuse, not an isolated incident. Later that evening, Detective Morgan called with an update. We executed a search warrant on your sister's phone. We found the video she took. And? It's worse than described. She's audibly taunting him while he's crying. And we found more videos, Mrs. Chen. Previous incidents with your son and other students. I sank into a chair. Other children too? I can't share details of an ongoing investigation, but the school district has been fully briefed. The DA is pursuing multiple charges. What about my parents? They've been calling Toby's phone now, telling him he misunderstood what happened. That could constitute witness tampering. We'll need those messages. They keep saying I'm overreacting, that discipline was harsher when we were kids, that this is just how our family handles things. Detective Morgan's voice hardened. Abusers often normalize their behavior through generations. Breaking that cycle takes courage. You're doing that for your son. After hanging up, I found Toby in his room, staring at his phone. Grandpa texted again, he said quietly. He said I should tell the police I made it all up. I gently took the phone. You never have to speak to them again if you don't want to. Are they bad people, Mom? I sat beside him, choosing my words carefully. They've made very bad choices, and they're not sorry for hurting you. People who won't acknowledge their mistakes can't be part of our lives. Aunt Vanessa scared me. I kept thinking my brain would explode from the blood rushing to my head. That fear was your body telling you something was wrong. You were right to tell me. Grandma said fear makes you faster. I hugged him close. Love makes you stronger. And that's what we're going to focus on from now on. The courthouse hallway felt endless as we approached the hearing. My parents stood outside the courtroom, their expressions a mix of anger and disbelief when they spotted us. Alora, my father called, stepping forward. This has gone far enough. Drop these ridiculous charges before you destroy your sister's life. Melissa, my attorney, stepped between us. Mr. Chen, as your daughter's counsel, I advise you not to approach or attempt communication. There's a protective order in place. Protective order? Against her own parents? My mother's voice rose. This is absurd. We're family. Family doesn't defend child abuse, I replied, keeping Toby close to my side. And family certainly doesn't try to convince a child to lie to police. It was discipline. My father's face reddened. You're too soft on that boy. In our day... Your day is over, I interrupted. And so is any relationship we might have had. Detective Morgan appeared, nodding toward the courtroom doors. They're ready for us. As we turned to enter, my mother grabbed my arm. Alora, please, your sister is facing jail time. Her career is ruined, all because you couldn't handle a little tough love. I pulled away. Tough love doesn't leave bruises. It doesn't traumatize children. What she did wasn't love at all. Inside, Vanessa sat with her attorney, her usual confident demeanor replaced by nervous fidgeting. When she saw Toby, she attempted a smile, but he turned away, pressing against my side. The hearing proceeded with formal charges: child endangerment, physical abuse of a child, intimidation, and professional misconduct. The prosecution presented the videos from Vanessa's phone, including the one of Toby. Each showing painted a picture of a systematic pattern of abuse masked as discipline. When given the chance to speak, Vanessa's voice wavered. I never meant to hurt anyone. I only wanted to instill discipline and respect. These methods were how we were raised, and we turned out fine. The judge leaned forward. You recorded yourself tormenting a crying child and threatened to humiliate him with that recording. Do you consider that fine, Miss Chen? I made a mistake. I was frustrated. Teaching is stressful, and Toby was being difficult. My son is 8 years old, I interrupted, unable to contain myself. He was struggling with math homework. Mrs. Chen, the judge warned, though her expression was sympathetic. Vanessa continued, Alora, I'm sorry. I went too far, but we can work this out as a family. We don't need courts and police involved in private family matters. Private family matters? I echoed in disbelief. You abused my child and other people's children. That's not private, it's criminal. You're blowing this out of proportion. Mom and Dad agree with me. Then they're as wrong as you are. The judge called for order, and Vanessa's attorney requested a brief recess. In the hallway, Vanessa cornered me while Toby was with Dr. Winters. Drop the charges, Alora, for the family's sake. Family? You hung my son upside down until he cried, recorded it, and threatened him with humiliation. I apologized. What more do you want? Apologies don't erase trauma. They don't heal bruises. They're just words. So you'll destroy my entire life over one mistake? One? The police found videos of other children, Vanessa. This wasn't a mistake, it was a pattern. Her face paled. Those were just... What? Just more children you terrorized? Just more abuse you disguised as teaching? I'm your sister. Not anymore. I stepped back. Sisters protect each other's children. They don't torture them. Vanessa's expression shifted from pleading to rage. You always were weak. That's why your son is weak too. Someone needed to toughen him up. There it is. The real Vanessa. I shook my head. I hope they play that statement for the judge. As if on cue, Detective Morgan appeared at my side. Everything okay here? Vanessa's attorney rushed over, but not before Vanessa hissed. You'll regret this. Our parents will never forgive you. I can live with that, I replied, turning away. Can you live with a criminal record? 6 months after the hearing, Toby and I sat in Dr. Winter's office for what would be our final regular session. He's made remarkable progress, Dr. Winters observed, reviewing his notes. The nightmares have stopped? Almost entirely, I confirmed. He still gets anxious about school sometimes, but his new teacher has been wonderful. Toby looked up from his drawing. Miss Powell never yells. She has a quiet corner instead of punishments. That sounds much better, Dr. Winters smiled. How do you feel about everything that happened with your aunt and grandparents? Toby considered the question seriously. Sad sometimes, but Mom says it's okay to feel sad about losing people, even if they weren't nice. That's very wise. Are you still sad, Mom? Toby asked, his eyes searching mine. Sometimes, I admitted, but I'm proud of us. We stood up for what was right, even when it was hard. After our appointment, we met Melissa for lunch to discuss the final resolution of the case. The judge's decision was finalized this morning, she reported, sliding a folder across the table. Vanessa accepted the plea deal. 2 years probation, permanent loss of her teaching license, mandatory counseling, and a restraining order protecting Toby and the other victims. No jail time? I asked, though I'd expected as much. First-time offenders rarely serve time in these cases, but her career in education is over and she'll be registered as a child abuser. That follows her for life. And my parents? The court found their attempts to pressure Toby constituted witness tampering. They've been fined and are included in the restraining order. They can't contact either of you for at least 3 years. I exhaled slowly. It's really over. Legally, yes. Emotionally, Melissa shrugged. That's a longer road. We'll walk it together, I said, squeezing Toby's hand. Later that evening, an unexpected email arrived from Vanessa. Alora, now that the case is settled, I'm reaching out one last time. I've lost everything because of your vindictiveness. My career, my reputation, our parents' respect. I hope you're satisfied with the destruction you've caused. Despite everything, we're still sisters. Blood matters. I've had time to reflect and realize I may have been too harsh with Toby. For that, I apologize. Can we at least discuss rebuilding some kind of relationship? Mom and Dad are devastated by this family rift. Vanessa. I showed the email to Dr. Winters during our final appointment. She's still not taking responsibility, he observed. Notice how she frames it. You caused destruction, not her actions, and the apology is qualified. May have been too harsh, rather than acknowledging abuse. I have no interest in rebuilding that relationship. That's entirely your choice. Forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. I can forgive her for my own peace of mind, but I'll never allow her near my son again. How will you respond? I closed the email without replying. I won't. Some bridges should stay burned. That night, Toby and I started a new tradition, a gratitude journal where we wrote one good thing that happened each day. I'm grateful for my strong mom, Toby wrote carefully. And I'm grateful for my brave son, I added. Do you think Aunt Vanessa will ever understand what she did was wrong? He asked suddenly. I don't know, buddy. Some people can't admit their mistakes. Grandma texted your phone yesterday. I saw the notification. I frowned. They're not supposed to contact us. It said we were tearing the family apart. But that's not true, is it? They did that when they hurt me. Exactly right. You understand something they never could. Will we ever have a big family again? We already do. Remember Detective Morgan, Dr. Winters, Melissa? The families from your support group? Family isn't just blood, Toby. It's the people who protect you, who stand by you when things get tough. As we finished our journal entries, I wondered how many other families normalized abuse as discipline. How many children suffered in silence, convinced their pain was deserved. The thought was sobering, but it strengthened my resolve. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is cut ties with toxic people, even when they share your DNA. The price of justice had been high. A sister, parents, extended family relationships all gone. But watching my son sleep peacefully, free from fear and nightmares, I knew it was worth every cost. What would you sacrifice to protect someone you love? What lines would you never allow to be crossed? The answer defines who you are and the values you truly hold. As for me, I choose protection over tradition, healing over harmony, and truth over family ties every single time.